Black Lives Matter does care. It's just that they don't care about black lives. That's the whole irony of the thing, right? Their name is Black Lives Matter, but what really matters is money. What matters is attention. What matters is creating the perception that they care about black folk. Now, I don't know if you guys remember, but in the summer of 2021, we had a little known incident known as George Floyd, right? And during that summer alone, BLM, Black Lives Matter, was able to accumulate close to $90 million in donations in one summer. I'm not calculating the time that they started to, this very day in time. In one summer, they collected $90 million in fundraising moolah. The very same so-called Black Lives Matter never brought a single dollar into the neighborhoods of black folk. And I mean that in the most literal sense, because they did take that money to neighborhoods, or at least a neighborhood, and that was a suburban, wealthy neighborhood in the middle of California, where they bought a $9 or $6 million mansion. So technically, they did bring the money to the hood. It's just that the hood was a predominantly white neighborhood. Now, it's interesting that, we kind of brushed over that, pretended it never really happened, didn't really hold anybody accountable, right? We never looked into the books. Oh, we were told what they were doing. We saw pictures of them popping champagne and celebrating. It's like, what were they celebrating? They were celebrating a win. Oh, was the win the fact that police brutality was no more in these streets and we had cleaned up the streets and changed the black community? No, the win was the fact that they finessed y'all out of $90 million in a single summer. And that does not account for the rest of the unaccounted money. Because you see, when you deal with criminals, they're not playing by the rules. They're not playing by the book. They're going to look to finesse in any way they can, period. Just like Al Sharpton. Brother Al Sharpton is the OG of the race hustle. He is the P of all P's. I am telling you, Brother Al Sharpton, who started out his career with, what was her name? Tawana Browley case. I actually did an entire video of a breakdown of a guy named Actual Justice Warrior. Incredible docu-series sort of video. I did a breakdown. Make sure to check that out. It's titled The Godfather of Race Hustling. The Godfather of Race Hustling. And in that video, it shows how Al Sharpton's entire career started as on the basis of a hoax, right? And the same respect as a BLM. It's the exact same sort of model where they found a situation, an incident that supposedly happened where this young girl was taken by these savage whites and she was done up real good, and they dropped her back off in a trash can where she was later found with writing on her, clothes torn up, burnt, all types of stuff. And she said that this had happened. Now, of course, history shows that it was all a lie. All a lie. And the people who were involved in the lie never got their justice. They never got vindicated. I believe it was 3 white men. And they never saw true justice. One of them ended up taking his own lives because he was so deeply depressed as far as what was going on. Right? Poor guy. May he rest in peace. Now, Al Sharpton didn't mind that it was all a hoax. As a matter of fact, he was just glad that he now had a name because he attached himself to this quote unquote race crime. And he catapulted himself to a level of being the voice of black people. And so he spent the rest of his God-given or devil-given life creating more race hoaxes. To the point where as recently as the Daniel Penny case, this man popped up out of the woodworks to speak of this injustice that has been done. Yet, in the time frame between the Browley case and the Penny case, there have been countless black folk who have been unalived by those who look just like them within their own surroundings, and not a single one of them matter. None of them have been invited on his private jets. None of them got a piece of that $500K paid by Kamala's campaign. They care. Black Lives Matter cares. It cares about its own pockets. It is a scam. And worse off, it can allegedly be considered a hate group because it's all on the basis of races. Yeah. No, we came to talk about this today, and I'm not letting it go because we like to run news cycles nowadays for 2-3 days, right? It's like music. Oh, album just dropped. Back in the day when I was a kid, when an album dropped, you sat with that album for 6 months, a year. Not to say you didn't get other albums, but Get Rich comes out, Miseducation, Lauryn Hill, Monkey Business, Black Eyed Peas. Yes, I bought a copy of that, and it was jamming. We sat with that. We let that thing burn all the way out. Nowadays, 2-3 days. What's next? No. We're not about to play that game. We're about to hold these folks accountable, period. We're about to unpack this luggage continuously, and we're about to call it out for exactly what it is. Scams. These are scammers. And the reason why they need to be called out is not just because they're any sort of scammer, but they're the worst type of scammer because they involve an ideology that keeps people in genuine suppression. Genuine. Because they tell people that you cannot do for self, you're poor, dusty, and that's just what you're going to be in your life. The white man did this, the white man did that. Because of the white man, you can't do nothing for yourself. So just stay down there so we can continue to use you as a prop because that's what they're doing. Have you ever gotten a check from BLM? Curious. Any black folk out there who are listening to this right now, let me know how much money that you got from BLM personally. How much money was deposited into your bank account from them because they care so much about your life. Please let me know that. Or Al Sharpton as an entity, because he's basically a movement in and of himself, right? Again, he's the godfather of the race hustle, as I call him. And I believe his child, per se, is a man by the name of Ibrahim Kendi, whose original name was like Henry Rogers or something like that. But, you can't go around with a name like Rogers. Ibrahim X Kendi. Yeah. That was the sequel. But the guy didn't really last. I mean, he has the book that they still use in the DI trainings and, in universities, How to Be Anti-Racist. A book which even the people who are on his side say is not exactly the best written book, but you know what? It will do, right? It will do. I mean, it's, at least it's a black guy. That's basically how they view it, Yeah. The BLM scam, folks, is not just money deep, but it is psychologically deep, where it continues to perpetuate one of the most dangerous ideas, which is that you are unable to do for yourself. It is said in psychology that an individual who has a belief in a lack of personal agency will be susceptible to depression, mental illness. They will be susceptible to essentially, personality disorders in essence, which lead to a perpetual stuckness in life because you feel as if the world is against you. You feel as if you have no control. And so that will literally lead to madness. That's why you see on the far left, the woke ideology, it leads to a certain level of madness. These people are saturating themselves with content that is telling them every single day, the world is falling apart. The world is against you. You are this marginalized. And so you are perpetually in a state of fight or flight. You are literally in a state of dis-ease. There is no ease within that worldview. And so it creates physiological symptoms. This is real, folks. This is not just alleged. The science it's there and it's established. And this is what these people perpetuate. They perpetuate a worldview where you have no personal agency. You can do nothing for yourself. Even though grandma and grandpa in 1920 understood that they had power. Wow. What it is to be out of the clutches of slavery, to even have their parents be the first slaves to be free. Even in the midst of Jim Crow, if there had been, in certain subsects of America where there was genuine white supremacy, systems of white supremacy. And yet some of these individuals thrived because they didn't hold themselves back with this story that we've been force fed and that has been pushed by these individuals who look to benefit. It has been the work of the race hustler and the white liberal. Just as Malcolm said, be wary of the fox, the sly fox that is the white liberal. But also, you talk about the celebrity, I would put in the quote unquote leaders, the black leaders. Any black leader who gives you a message other than lead yourself, but instead pushes a concept of it is the white man and the white man and the white man. That's why I don't agree with everything that Malcolm talks about. You know, he changed a lot of his worldviews after he went to Mecca, but I don't believe in a lot of I don't believe in the separatists and the segregation aspect. And I think a lot of aspects that he overcame, by the end of his life, that might have even been why they wanted to take him out, because he was now becoming a threat to their own racism, within the Nation of Islam. And yes, that it is a racist ideological. Come on. You know what I mean? Yaqub, the evil scientist with a big old head who created white folks. Like, come on, y'all. White man is just the evil race. They're not connected to us. They were grafted out. Like, come on. Okay. Come on. Lord Emmerich, don't even get me down that rabbit hole. I went down the Yaqub rabbit hole. I said, oh my God, this is crazier than I would ever imagine. But I don't agree with those sentiments, but I do agree with the fact that there are those who pose themselves to be allies, but are truly enemies of your soul. They're enemies of your freedom. They do not care about you. They want to egg you on in your dysfunction, your toxicity. They want to perpetuate the worst state of mind, emotion, and action in order to control. It is a narcissistic manipulative tool, and a system can be narcissistic. The Democratic plantation is a narcissistic tool. It is a narcissistic system, right? It is self-serving, and it uses and it manipulates and it creates facades. It will love bomb you. It will pander to you so long as it gets its way. And soon as it doesn't, it will spit you right out and beat you all the way up. A black conservative coming out as a conservative, you are spit up, you are chewed up and spit out. You are treated like you are nothing. That Democratic plantation it's savage. There's a reason why they fought to keep slavery, them Democrats. There's a reason why in 1870, after they took out our good brother Abraham Lincoln, there's a reason why they instilled Jim Crow in 1870. There's a reason why they were responsible for the longest filibuster in the history of the Senate, I believe it was, or Congress, for how many days? I know I have the stat. They held back the Civil Rights Bill by, I know I have it in here. I know I do. Y'all gonna wait with me. The longest filibuster longest filibuster in U.S. history, 75 days. Damn near one fourth of the year, 75-day filibuster. Filibuster means postponing, right? Holding a bill up. So 75 days, Democrats blocked the Civil Rights Act. That's how they move, folks. And they have never changed. They've only changed their approach. They've only changed the way in which they enact their same deception. Now you just have more black faces. Now you have Charlemagne's and charlatans. You have D.L. Hughley's who might be D.L. You understand me? Down low. You have individuals who are being used and are allowing themselves to be used because it's a choice. It's like people say, oh, BET and this degeneracy, that's a white company. That's a no. Sexy Red chose to be Sexy Red. Cardi chose to be Cardi. Cardi B and Playboy Cardi. Oh, they're all choosing. They're all choosing to sell themselves for $1 bill, to sell their integrity if they ever had any, right? To give up their morals if they ever had any. So it's still a choice there. But this BLM, I'm telling y'all, they care. They care so much about their own bottom line. And so long as we continue to listen, not even to listen, because it's not listening. I want freedom of speech, but to support and to not introspect and to not be honest about these things, they will continue to pop up and pop up and pop up and pop up. Just like with the Daniel Penny case, again, it wasn't just L Sharpton, it was BLM who actually took that over. They're going to have vigilantes. We're going to have some black vigilantes. Y'all should see that's ridiculous as hell. Ridiculous. They up there just making a fool of themselves because we can see through it. But unfortunately for some, they have not waken up. But God's grace on them. God's grace on them. But I'm not finna take my foot off there. No, sir.
I used to be afraid of the dark, place unknown like a heart in their heart. I used to see my life in the bar. Now the kids unchained, every shackle is lost. 2 steps in the moonlight, 2 step in the daytime. You just know when it feel right. You got a feeling the time's not. See you through those shades that I just threw on. Through my lenses, you just can't do no wrong. I fell in love with myself again. I fell in love with myself. I fell in love with the sunshine. I fell in love with the light. I fell in love with the full moon. I fell in love with the night. I can see